Wow.
You tried. I looked at it, I was like, wow. you definitely tried. I'm definitely not finishing this.
Are you serious? Did you put about the same amount? Hell, Jesus, look at my life. Mom, is this what you have become? Hell! No.
So we are having pork and bean sprouts stir fry.
Okay.
And some rice and some stir fry pak choi. Pak choi. Yeah, just a green vegetable.
Cool.
So just fried in garlic and oil.
Nice. Okay, garlic. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Looks yummy.
Yeah, so enjoy.
Oh, how long did it take you to make this?
Not really long actually. Just the prep work, so dicing everything up is what took the most time. Frying the pork was 1 minute, and then fry the vegetables, the bean sprouts and the smoked peppers with the garlic. Another 2 minutes, mix back in with the pork, and then your sauces. 10 minutes, and rice, you just boil rice. What's your view on wearing masks now?
Wow.
You tried. I looked at it, I was like, wow. you definitely tried. I'm definitely not finishing this.
Are you serious? Did you put about the same amount? Hell, Jesus, look at my life. Mom, is this what you have become? Hell! No. In fact, I'm not doing it again.
Just finish it, You haven't eaten all day. No, I've eaten breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so it's different from me.
You had dinner?
No, I didn't have dinner. No,
Okay.
I had breakfast and lunch.
Right, so what do I feel about, so how do I feel about masks? I am definitely pro-mask, even though I can say that it is rather uncomfortable. It is very uncomfortable. I was on the train yesterday because I had to go into the office and I had to wear the mask on the underground, and it was...
Trying to breathe.
No, it was just not nice, so I kind of had to dip it down a little bit. Yeah, there was a guy that was on a carriage with me, sat directly opposite me. He didn't have a mask on, no no gloves, no mask, nothing. Just there, spread his legs, and I don't know. It was quite weird to see because everyone else had a mask on, and it is an obligation that you should on public transport. And all of a sudden, this guy just opened his mouth, didn't cover anything. I was like, and he coughed out. I was like, right, bye. Grabbed my bag, I was gone. I jumped out as soon as the train got to the next stop. I went to another carriage. I was like, ain't nobody catching this thing with you. Goodbye. No, sorry. Bye. I didn't care. Now is not the time to be nice. I was like, it's one thing for you to not be wearing a mask, but for you to be flaunting your coronavirus up and down. No, thank you. Yeah, so I am definitely pro-mask. Yeah. Do you wear them out?
Like, let's say casually walking down the streets.
Like if you need to go to a shop?
Now that it's compulsory, yeah. So like going to Sainsbury's, for example, yeah. I just wear one because that's the rule now. It's definitely not comfortable for me. In terms of how I feel about with the rules, I'm not sure I'm happy with it, honestly.
Why? You're starting to sound like
What?
our neighbors
Oh,
in
really?
different continents.
Oh, America.
Sean said, "Oh, that's just you." I did not say that.
First of all, the rules for me are a little bit. They're not very straightforward in terms of you can wear masks to supermarkets, takeaways, but when you're in a restaurant, you can choose not to.
It's hard to eat with a mask on.
Yeah.
In the mouth. I guess because if you're in a restaurant, the idea is you and your party are supposed to have at least say 1 or 2 meters apart from the next table. So if you're spreading anything, ideally it should just be within your table and your company. But that's it. I'm only saying that in terms of how they reason, even though there have been studies that I could be here and you could be by the door and you could still transmit the virus. But it's finding a balance between what the medical experts are saying against how all of this affects the economy. So you're gonna have to find a balance between, okay, well, we're gonna have to take a bit of a risk here. We can't stay closed forever. And unfortunately, then there's the question of what's the value of the life? I guess because when everything was on lockdown, as they say, it was meant to help the NHS and reduce the pressure on the NHS. But as the rate of spreading is declining, there's less pressure on the NHS. So that's why they're like, right, so we can take a bit of a risk. You guys can go out. If someone catches it, there's less pressure on the NHS right now, so the people can go to the hospital and get treated, kind of thing. So it's not necessarily to completely eradicate or waiting for things to be the virus to be completely eradicated, but it's more dealing with the medical pressures. So you just have to take a risk at some point and be like, if the economy doesn't move, then we're all screwed.
I guess the part that unsettles me, like I always like to question everything to a certain degree in terms of, not that I think it's completely bad, if there's a justification for it and there's logic to it, data proof, then 100% on board. But to a certain degree, like with how we've all been let out now and how we're all living our lives, there's so many interactions that we're all still having that, like, it's almost like the mask is, it's not that I have a problem with the mask from a what's the word? From a practical
Comfortability
point of view.
Hopefully that's the right word.
If not, we're making it up. From that point of view, which is by the side, but also the image of it in terms of, like, we're all living our lives as per normal. The only difference now is that we're all wearing masks and this 2 meter thing. But I feel like in reality, it's like when you watch TV now, right? And you're watching the news, and let's say you have a group of people that are sharing the news, maybe not like how like we're sitting right now, but this time you place one person there, you place me here for the camera. When these guys are on their coffee break outside of the camera, these guys are like, hey bro, like, yeah. What good is that doing? That's the point I don't. And it's like, you can't tell me that everybody hasn't or isn't interacting. Even when we go to supermarkets or go outside, the amount of interactions, maybe not physically or directly, but indirectly, that we're still having. You can't tell me that the mask is a buffer to a certain degree in helping that. It's for me, right? It's either you take real action and you mitigate it by saying, no, everybody wear hazard suits. Don't go outside without like one of those protectors, or like you're almost educating people in terms of hygiene, which 100% yes is happening right now, and also a good level of humanity and care with if you're feeling some kind of way in terms of illness, like stay at home, take care of yourself. If you're feeling unwell in any way, you have a cough, wear a mask. But I don't know, maybe I'm just being
I don't know. I watched a video quite early on at the start of lockdown and whatnot, where I want to say, I'm not sure if the person is a medically trained, practitioner or whatever it is, but they did a video to show the difference between the effect of wearing a mask against not wearing a mask. So and they did, illustrations where regardless, yes, as we're speaking, we can't see the particles, but you don't want to think about it, but they are coming out. There are, millions of particles that are coming out of your mouth every other minute kind of thing. I don't know if that's the fact, but there's so much that comes out of our mouths, and
I've seen some of those types of videos.
Yeah, so it's like, without a mask, there's so much that projects, but when you wear the mask, it's so much more, limited. It's restricted. Some particles may still, and then there's the difference between wearing a mask that is, the right kind of mask against just using a cloth or just using a bandana kind of thing against on your face. So say if you're wearing a mask that has a filter, it definitely again reduces the amount of particles that come out, reduces the spread. So it's not a prevention, it's more a
reducing the probability.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the effect of it. So it's not like, wear a mask and you would never catch COVID. That's not what they're saying, and that's not what they should be saying. It's more about it's helping to reduce the spread, because everything everyone and anyone is doing right now, as I heard on they said on the news yesterday, it's like the vaccine right now is everything that we're trying to do in terms of stay away, wash your hands. These are all man-made cures before we find the actual
so
medical cure.
With that logic, shouldn't it be the case that we should basically wear a mask everywhere? So I'll give you an example. Outside of like the public places like pubs and even pubs, are they meant to be wearing masks? Because when I look into pubs now, they're definitely not wearing masks.
I mean, I haven't been to a pub. I haven't actually been into any like public spaces in terms of bars, restaurants, whatever else is actually open. I literally haven't been. But say just driving past, I can see people outside. I can only imagine or guess that the people that are inside, they're placing their orders, or you want to go to the toilet or something, or you want to go to the loo. But people sat outside,
Mm.
you're not obliged to wear a mask. You're
Yeah.
not necessarily encouraged to wear a mask because they say the probability of the spread while you're outside is so much more reduced, and
Mm.
that's why you're not forced to wear it.
Okay. Yeah, my point was going to be like, shouldn't it be the case that we should encourage everyone, as long as they're outside, just wear a mask? Instead of like choosing isolated places to be like, okay, when you're in this type of location, you have to wear a mask. As soon as you come out, you take that mask off, and you're still breathing. You still walk by people. You still pass the pedestrian walking thing.
Well, I mean, it's funny because when I lived in or before I moved now into London, and where I was, there is such a massive difference in terms of people's behaviors towards the whole social distancing. So where I was in closer to Kent Way, I when I'd go on, when they say you can go for exercise like once a day and whatnot, and then they changed it, however many times you want to do this. But I'd go out, and a lot of the times I would hardly come across people on the road, on the streets or wherever during my walks. Probably because it's a bit removed from London. It's less people about, less densely populated. But even just the behaviors of people, there was already so much space. And you've been to my where I was before. There's so much space there, but I could be I'm going on a walk. I'm on this side of the road. There's someone else coming on the opposite direction on the same side, and the person is probably thinking the same as me, like, right, so shall I, like, who's going to move, kind of thing. And a lot of the time, and I started to adopt that as well, you literally cross the road because you don't want to come in close contact with people. So it literally was not an issue for us there to keep the whole 1 meter, 2 meters apart. But in London, it's like everybody is so close. And I was on the underground yesterday, and I was so uncomfortable because I left work after 5. So I must have gone the underground, like say from 6 p.m. or something. And it was packed. It wasn't even like, people just sat. Everybody was sat, next to each other. It wasn't even, keep a distance. Not just that, but there were people, like the usual rush hour, people standing and holding the railing and everything. I was just like, oh my gosh, just like trying to find a corner for myself. So that wasn't nice at all. But in terms of wearing a mask, and I can see, like, if you're going on the underground, if you're going to be somewhere that is quite densely populated, or that you're expecting several people to be in, then I think the message should be yes, keep a mask on you, wear a mask wherever you find yourself in that kind of situation. And if you're going to be indoors, like say in a mall or something like that, but on the roads, you shouldn't have expected to say that, because you would be thinking that people would give themselves enough space. But the reality is that in London, as I've seen, that's not what people are doing.
I went to Tooting sometime last week, during lunchtime, to pick up a package. I'm trying to think of the closest place I can find or think of in Nigeria. It wasn't maybe that dense in terms of population, but it was packed. I was like, oh wow, London has opened like proper, and I'm like, okay, like maybe it's in the end, right? I think yes, I do see the logic in terms of trying to reduce the probability, being cautious by wearing. I do see that logic. It doesn't prevent it, but it just cuts it down. I guess for me, where my mind has gone to in the end is there's so many things that we can't see or we don't know. We don't know the last time as I walk outside now to go to the supermarket, if someone sneezed like 10 seconds before I walked out of my house and the particles are still in the air and I just casually just walk out while I'm still trying to figure out and put on my mask type of thing. So it's my point is like there's so much unknown that maybe it's the fear that I don't like. I don't like seeing fear and panic and worry to the extent where maybe people's behaviors just are shifting like that. Maybe I have to see a balance of the reasoning behind it, because there's so much that like we can't see. I'm just like, yeah. What's that French phrase? Is it c'est la vie? C'est la vie. Like you just, by the grace of God, you just.
Die one day.
Hopefully we don't die soon, but by the grace of God, like, yeah, it's God that protects us and stuff. So, yeah.
I can't remember who said this. It was either an economist or a politician that said, I think it may be on money, the note. No, it definitely isn't on money, because that would freak people out. But basically, the quote is, the person said, in the end, we all die. That stuck with me, like word. Not true statement. I mean, it's true, no? Yeah. It's literally true.
That money that you're holding, we'll go.
Yeah, I think it was an economist. I can't remember who it was now. Maybe John Snowman. I want to say John Snowman.
Did you listen to the J. Cole?
I haven't even. Is it good?
I only listened to it once. I don't think it's a full album yet, because in the comments I saw on Instagram, he said it's still work in progress or something. So I think maybe just a few songs. Yeah, they were alright, like cool. But it doesn't.
Still woke. Give us some jams, J. Cole.
Give us Illuminati.
Yep. Give us what they call it, Born Sinner, or what the hell? Albums after
the one before Born Sinner, and
that's all those college kind of these things.
Yeah.
What did he even call them?
What's the name of the album? The one with featured Drake, In the Morning.
I don't remember. Yeah, he had those 3 albums that were like, sequels of each other. You get, just like Kanye with his College Dropout.
Oh, I see what you mean. Graduation.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to remember what his was.
I didn't know he did that. Yeah, but that era, I do miss. Yeah, some walk call is nice sometimes, but
like
sometimes just miss
shave
that.
off your dreads, Jacob.
So you just want to hear those bangers. It was like,
See, where are you?
I listened to Forest Hill Drive.
Sideline. So the sideline, the warm up, the come up, the blow up. Friday Night Lights. I think Actually, I know. Credit to like Born Sinner. I know every song there. For Your Eyes Only. I know every song. Forest Hills Drive. I know every song. I think from KOD. That's where I start. Yeah. KOD. I probably only know one song that he has on there.
Changing Clothes. I think it's from KOD.
Clothes for you.
Is it not? Yeah. Folding Clothes. Is it Folding Clothes or Changing Clothes?
Fold.
Yeah.
That's Forest Hills.
That's what. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice song.
Maybe. What? I'm surprised because I don't feel like I know any song in KOD like that. Maybe that's in For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah, I think it's For Your Eyes actually.
Yeah.
Mm.
Apparently, he has 2 sons. I knew that there was a rumor that he had one, but apparently he has 2 kids.
Like with his wife?
Well, I would imagine so.
Yeah, I know. So the one with... So that For Your Eyes Only era, yes, so I think maybe that was her first pregnancy, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was another song, maybe from KOD, where he made a reference to her being pregnant again. Yeah. Oh, time flies. Yeah, she's probably giving birth already.
Oh, yeah. Like, he has 2 kids. Count them.
I think it's interesting that, like, with artists like Cole, I'll say Eminem as well as another example, where in a certain era or certain time period, just because of the ambition or hunger or state of mind, there's the music they make in that time, that block of space is just like, it has this encatchment with everyone and like, oh, I want that goal, like that's my goal. But when they get after that point where they then grow in some way, it's like, the music doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, it's called money.
No,
when you make some money, hang out less in the hood. No, but yeah, like you grow in your career. It's just like everybody, and that's why it's quite hard for rappers to still be relevant after a certain period. To be, they are the legends out there, like living legends, like the Jay-Z and whatnot. That's you just can't help but listen to them. But there are certain people that have, I feel like that they have a timestamp where, I mean, they could still be relevant, but probably just not as mainstream.
Yeah.
Where rap is you don't hear very much of, oh, I'm a rich rapper, like I came from wealth. Look at me, my dad is maybe apart from Nigerian rappers, but like if you're from America, like your status, your who you are really comes from your struggles.
Your history, yeah.
It's mainly from how it's like nearly like a competition of how much did you struggle growing up. Who did you kill to get to where you are? Like, what did you steal to get to where you are? So it's like a lot of people.
It's part of the narrative.
Yeah, it's like, and it helps people to connect with you. Like saying that, yeah. I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth. Like, how many people are going to relate with you on that? So it's like, and then you evolve, you get more money, you probably start thinking to be investing in property, to invest in this and that. The interest in rap may start to dwindle. So for some people, they just lose it after a while. And then you grow up. You have a family. You have kids. You have responsibilities. Not to say that it all has to die then, but for some people, I mean, like the likes of Kanye, he's still doing his thing. J. Cole, whenever he feels like dropping something, drops what he wants to drop. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with artists like 50, for example, where back in the day, obviously Get Rich or Die Trying. What's the album with G Unit? What was that album called?
You should know.
Yeah, I really should know. I think it was just called G Unit. Yeah, I can't remember. Anyways, like even the mixtapes, 24 shots, like you could feel like, the hustle, that grind. But obviously, when they decided to make that transition, like I didn't feel not maybe the interest, but like the passion. It wasn't in the words anymore. It was like his attention was, and granted, I think he's used his attention brilliantly, at least compared to some other people that, yes, they get rich, but they don't
die trying. Couldn't help myself. Yeah.
But with people like Cole, and for me Eminem as well, like I feel like those guys, maybe just my blind faith, but yes, they change, they grow, like you said, they have families, their struggles aren't the same, but the words as well.
Well, I mean, it's like the struggles aren't the same, but everyone still has struggles. So it's how you decide to portray it. Just the same way, I don't think Jay-Z has released anything in years, but you can find a way to still connect with people. The people that you would have your different markets, like just because you may not necessarily sell to the youngsters, because even like I don't even know what like people in their teens listen to.
You don't know.
Exactly, and I'm sure if Jay-Z puts something else, people will just, apart from if they are die-hard music fans, they probably can't relate to
That's
them.
exactly.
So he and everyone else, like the Eminems and Coles, if they release their stuff, their target audience is still out there. People that are in the same age group or slightly older, slightly younger.
Sometimes it's a miss. With the Jay-Z points, that totally happened with his last album, which I thought actually was, I really liked it because he probably maybe done one or two albums before that, where I felt okay. Yes, you're in a different status. I can't really relate to you now. But that album had a theme which I connected to. Was it 404? The name of the building.
444.
Was it 444? The name of the building that he had the confrontation with Solange and Beyonce. Yeah. Anyways, my point is like with guys like Cole, for example, where like you call him woke version. It's like I still connect with him where like, he releases something, okay, fine, I'm definitely going to have to listen to it, but maybe it still doesn't have that fire like I was hoping, like when he started, type of thing. Is it because it's a different subject?
Yeah, I mean, he even just him as a person, he's grown, he's changed a bit, like he's kind of morphed into, in terms of what his interests are, where old Cole would, he would rap about girls and rap about, certain, materialistic things. He may rap about it now, but he gives a slightly more mature perspective to it, like, maybe, talk about family kind of thing. That'll be more of what he raps about. So what I'm saying is that the youngsters may not be able to relate to that, but the people like you and I who are, at that stage in our lives where we're heading towards that, you kind of sit and listen like, okay, well, that's interesting.
Some of it I struggle.
You're not going to connect with everything he talks about, or anything, any artist, brings out. Not everything is going to resonate with you. So you have to, and they don't put an art out to make sure it connects with everyone. It's never going to happen.
Yeah. True.